Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the Northeast Regional Virtual Experience. Thank you all of our exhibitors for attending today, participating today in our trade show, and to all of you taking time out today with your busy schedule. Really appreciate it. Um, I am Jayesh Patel, your Northeast Regional Director. I'm honored to serve you as the Regional Director. It is a privilege to work on your behalf and to be an advocate initiative and issue AAHOA is constantly working on.
Gotcha, and we would like to thank our sponsors, Chase and RLH Corporation. Their support means so much for our association, and we're grateful for their partnership. Now, a brief message from our sponsors.
All right, we have breaking news now. World Health Organization has just declared coronavirus a pandemic at this point.
Thank you, Chase and RLH Corporation. Your involvement is key to AAHOA's success. Our officers, our board, and our ambassadors are all volunteers. I would like to recognize our Northeast Region ambassadors. They work tirelessly to support AAHOA in our region. Ashwin Patel, Shirag Patel, Deepal Shah, Hitesh Patel, Ketan Patel, Kier Patel, Megha Patel, Mitesh Patel, Prakash Patel, Priyash Patel, Sagar Parekh, and Vibhu Joshi. I would also like to recognize the Northeastern Region 2019 Premier Ambassador, Vibhu Joshi. He went above and beyond in service to AAHOA and to our nation's hoteliers, and we are grateful for his service. Thank you to all our ambassadors and for all you do for our region. Now let's take a minute to review our regional performance. As you can see, the Northeastern region has 550 paid members and 372 lifetime members. I urge you to encourage your networks to join or renew their AAHOA membership. Hoteliers are struggling right now, and we need to rely on each other more than ever. If you have a friend or family member who is not yet an AAHOA member, help them out. Encourage them to become a member today and take advantage of all the resources that AAHOA offers. As a reminder, AAHOA membership is free for those of you who own an RLH corporation or G6 franchise. Also, If you or your fellow hotelier is a Wyndham franchisee who has never been an AAHOA member, you too are eligible for a free membership. This year, our region has raised $3,515 for the AAHOA PAC. If you have not yet donated to our PAC, you can do it right now securely through AAHOA.com or here at our regional by visiting the information desk. Your support is greatly appreciated. Here are the names of those who have donated to the AAHOA PAC so far. We are grateful for your support. AAHOA supports candidates who support small business and more specifically hoteliers. Here are candidates that the AAHOA PAC is supporting in your region. We work best when we work together. I'm proud of what we have accomplished, especially in the face of this pandemic. I'm grateful for your support and your participation, especially all of you who updated your property data through myahoa.com. When you update your property information, it helps us help you, such as when we're talking with brands, vendors, or elected officials. It helps us paint a more complete picture of your influence as job creators and leaders in business and in your community. We also need your emails and cell phone numbers. And please be sure to opt in to receive the latest news, updates, and special deals. Just take a few minutes today. It'd be greatly appreciated. Update your property information through myahoa.com and help us be better advocates for you and to best communicate with you. We have several important events coming up, including additional regionals. Log into AAHOA.com every day to find new events to attend, even virtually. We add new ones every day. I very much am looking forward to a great year. In a few moments, we're going to get an update from AAHOA's women hoteliers and young professional hoteliers, brought to you by Marriott. Now, please welcome Adam Scherer, Senior Vice President, Lodging Development, Marriott Select Brands, for a message on behalf of Marriott.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad I'm able to join with you virtually. Sorry, it can't be in person. I know we're all in our homes and offices attending this great AAHOA event, but most importantly, we are together. Again, my name is Adam Scherer, Senior Vice President, Marriott Select Brand Development for the Eastern region. We are long-term supporters of AAHOA, so we're excited to continue our support of AAHOA and its mission. We think that there's a significant amount of connection between Marriott and its AAHOA members. Marriott started as a family business close to 100 years ago. We actually were a franchisee of the A&W root beer system. We very much understand what it means to be in your shoes in terms of taking on the risk of the family enterprise to go for success and to continue to grow your own businesses. So we are, again, feel very much in alignment with all of you. Do want to say we are open for business. We are continuing to look to grow with all of you. All of you have been so critical to our success. Many of you serve integral parts to our enterprise and serve as leaders within our franchise advisory board systems. So we thank you for that level of engagement. We do this together ultimately in the hotel business. Your success becomes our success, and we are driven every day to make sure that you meet your financial and growth objectives. So again, just want to say a thank you. Hope you're enjoying all the content. Most importantly, let me say, I know we're living in an unprecedented time. So hopefully, number one, that your families are safe. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad weathering what is going on from a COVID perspective. We're thinking about all of you. We'll continue to work with you and your businesses to be successful. You can see contact information on the screen for Emily. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad I'm able to join.
Thank you, Adam. Now, please join me in welcoming Lena Patel, Female Director, Eastern Division, for an update on our women hoteliers.
Hello, women hoteliers. At our San Diego convention, We took a moment to celebrate ways we can learn from one another, inspire one another, and set ourselves up for a year of progress and success in our businesses. Women, especially the women of AAHOA, have a history of building up one another. But women don't just help women. We speak up in support of hotel owners across America. Women hoteliers met with members of Congress, legislative staff, state representatives during the Legislative Action Summit and Capitol Hill Days in states across the country in order to share in real terms how policies affect small business owners. We fundraise for the AAHOA PAC because we understand the importance of making sure Congress is made up of pro-business leaders who understand our industry. And in the midst of all of this, we continue to give back. We pay it forward. We help the next generation of hotel owners. We prepared holiday care packages for children in foster care, and we gathered much needed supplies for women in shelters. I think you'll all agree with me that this strange season has inspired us all to stop and think about what's really important and the kinds of leaders we want to be. I also want to tell you about the Women Hoteliers Focus Group. This group is dedicated to helping advance women professionals in hospitality industry. If you want to become more involved, to build your network, connect with the industry leaders, and grow, I encourage you to join us. Until business is back to normal, I've been thinking a lot about how I can invest in myself and in my team to become the strongest we can be. And I'm so thankful for the endless resources AAHOA has for me, whether I'm at the office or enjoying a moment of peace and quiet. If you've been thinking about this too, this idea of taking some time to invest in you, I hope you'll join me. I've thought about a few ways, all the things that I can do on my own schedule at my own pace. For example, taking one 20-minute AAHOA webinar every day between now and New Year's Eve. I want to be more informed about sales, and AAHOA has more than 20 classes on that topic, all free and in a format that fits my schedule. Or maybe even having my team take the new AAHOA P&G Professionals Training in Hotel Sanitization and Cleanliness, the latest training certificate offered from the AAHOA Hotel Owners Academy for hotel owners and their staff. As travel resumes, we want our customers to feel confident and comfortable when they choose to stay at our property. The small step will make a big difference. I hope you'll join me this season in choosing your way to invest in yourself because you deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Now we will hear from Bhavik Patel, Young Professional Director, Eastern Division, for an update on the next generation of hoteliers.
Professional hoteliers, I am Bhavik Patel, your AAHOA Young Professional Director, Eastern Division. The people on Capitol Hill and in state legislatures across the country might understand on a theoretical basis what we're going through. Sure, people aren't traveling as much these days, and the hospitality industry must be feeling it. But the message really hits home when we put numbers in front of them. This is where you come in. You may have heard this before, AAHOA asking you to update your property data. It would have been helpful then, but it's absolutely critical now. We need to paint a clear picture of what America's hotel owners are going through. That means the number of hotels, the number of jobs, and the number of tax dollars governments won't see because of the decline in travel. This year, we elected a new Congress, and the fact of the matter is that we will likely need to educate a new class of leaders about the hospitality industry. We'll need to tell them the success of our industry is not only important to our own businesses, but has a ripple effect to our local economies and our country. Plain and simple, the most effective way to hit that point home is with numbers. They're not just going to take our word for it. Dozens of other industries are also clamoring for their attention, but we can prove it if we have the numbers. To those of you that have already provided your property data, thank you. To those of you who have provided some, but not all of your properties, or to those of you who have been meaning to for a while now, it's not too late. This is the perfect time to take a small step that will make a big difference. AAHOA has been investing in technology to make the benefits of membership more accessible wherever you are. My AAHOA, the exclusive member portal, is your one-stop shop. It is where you can update your property information. It's also where you, as a young professional, can indicate that you want to receive the news and information that's most relevant to young professionals. By completing your profile and updating your preferences, you can customize your entire AAHOA experience so it reflects you and the business you run. Last but not least, it's where you can make a PAC contribution today. I know, it seems like a tall order to ask for you to contribute to the AAHOA PAC in the middle of a pandemic. But here's why making a contribution in any amount today is right for you. It's the best decision you'll make all day. PAC funds give AAHOA the power to influence decision-making at the state and federal levels by speaking the language of politics, money. PAC funding allows AAHOA to strengthen its existing political relationships and forge new partnerships with the political power brokers of the future. You would be amazed by how far $1 a day goes. Help AAHOA fight for you. With our industry in trouble, we need strong political relationships now more than ever. We can do this. Thank you.
And thank you, Bhavik. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our guest as part of a panel to discuss the 2020 state of the lodging industry, as well as top issues in our region. Please join me in welcoming our panelists. Northeast Regional Director, Jayesh Patel. Mark Dorr, President, New York State Hospitality and Tourism Association. Tom Melinda, Director of Hotel Operations, Ellicott Hotels. And our moderator, Glenn Hausman, President, Rouse Media, and the host of the No Vacancy podcast. Glenn, it's all yours.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today, host this event. I'm really looking forward to having a great conversation with all of you out there and helping give you an understanding of what is going on with the lodging industry today. I'm particularly thankful to Tom, Jayesh, and Mark for being here today. We're going to have a good, fast-paced back and forth conversation for the next 42 minutes or so. And for those of you who know, that's the answer to all of the meanings in the universe. Number 42, little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy joke in there. I see all of you guys are real up on Douglas Adams over there. But anyway, let's just get into this. And I should say, before I do ask Mark the first question, I too am a Northeasterner. I live down here on Long Island, and I love this part of the country. And I've been driving a lot all around the Northeast United States lately, as I'm doing a show every single day called No Vacancy Live at noon every single day on social media. We're trying to go to different locations. We're trying to get out there to spread the importance of traveling and show people that it's safe, it's secure, and that we all need to get back to it. So I think the best place to start, let's talk with Mark Dorr. Oh, before I tell that to Mark, I also wanted to say I'm on the Long Island Hospitality Association. So I am one of you. I may not own a hotel, but I'm getting close. And I'm really involved in all of the issues that you folks are living and breathing every single day. So, okay, Mark, I want to start with you, sir, because our Governor Cuomo, has changed the rules of coming into this state. Just before we went on air, you were saying that might make things a little bit easier. What does this new rule mean? How do you expect it to play out? And what are you feeling about it?
Well, it's still not the greatest solution, as we all know, because we need people to get out and travel and feel comfortable. But for those of you who aren't aware, in New York State, just over the weekend, Saturday, as everybody knows, we had the 14-day quarantine. If you came into New York State, you needed a quarantine for 14 days. Saturday, and oddly enough, we had a call on Thursday with the Boston Consulting Group, who the state hired to set the guidelines for the reopening. And as they talk to different organizations, the closer they get to making a decision, they kind of get a conference call together. So we did one on Thursday. Friday, our partners at the Hotel Association of New York City, right. Vijay Dandapani, he had a call with them. So back to back, that was our big issue. Basically what it is you need to take within 3 days of coming here, a COVID test. And then when you come into the state, you have 3 days, you have to quarantine here while you wait for your test result. And the fourth day, you have to have another COVID test. Mm-hmm. If that one's negative, you can go throughout the state and do whatever you want. The thing about this is it really cut it from 14 days down to 7. Right. Still, three coming in, fourth here, but you get your test before you come in. So you're really, when you get into New York State, instead of waiting 14 days, you really kind of have that 3.5 days where you have to quarantine. Unless you are, the other good thing about it is, all the contiguous states are not part of this plan at all. So if you are, you know, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, you can come and go freely because they understood
Excellent.
that they couldn't really monitor. So that was a really good thing. They're discouraging travel still, but at least you can kind of come from states that are connected to New York and travel and move about. So that's going to be in place for the very, you know, for the, you know, at least the next couple of weeks till we see how things go. But one thing I just wanted to share with the hoteliers were, and it became a legal question we got from a lot of our members, as a hotelier with this new quarantine, you cannot ask, because of privacy laws, you cannot ask a guest to show or prove that there's a positive or negative COVID test as a way to determine whether or not you're going to allow them in as a guest. It is a strictly honor system. You can let them know. We sent to our members all the a flyer that they can put on their front desk that just details, here's what the new rules are in New York State. They have done, a hotelier's done everything that they need to do as long as they notify them of what the quarantine rules are and the testing rules. But please don't ask a guest about their test because of the HIPAA and privacy laws. So going forward, that's kind of the latest. Shrunk it in half. Don't ask the guest. You can move in from states that are connected to New York. So step in the right direction. Not perfectly there, but we're getting somewhere.
And I'll tell you, Mark, I've been going to Jersey. I've been going to Connecticut. We did a great episode up at Mohegan Sun, for example. So I've been going from state to state and not even worrying about it. But I've got ahead. I hate to even name another region, the Mid-Atlantic region. I'm going down to D.C. next week because why not go to D.C. next week when there won't be anything to worry about? But am I going to, when I return, have to quarantine here back at the Houseman Pool Club Resort and Smokehouse?
If you're there more than 24 hours. So if you are, you should get the test. But if you're within 24, which you probably will be longer than that, you should go through the protocol of getting the test when you're down. The tough thing is going to be finding the tests. I mean, we've had hotels out on the tip of Long Island that said, listen, if I get a guest to come in, it's going to be an hour and a half for them to drive to the nearest place to get a test. But the answer is, Glenn, yes, you should go through the protocol.
Yeah, and this is what worries me. Not the fact that we have to take tests, but Jayesh, I think about that hassle factor, right? Is it even worth bothering? So how do you feel about these new rules and generally the state of where we are today?
I mean, number one, lockdown has killed many, many businesses. Everybody knows virus is dangerous. They have to control it some ways. There got to be a way. I would think, again, I don't have that answer, but I think having the strict guidelines set like that, it's still not going to help our hotel industry. I mean, people come, even a little bit of a corporate traveler, if it starts to come in, no one's going to spend 3 days quarantine and then go to work or travel or visit Niagara Falls, visit, you know, whatever it may be, leisure places in New York. So I really think governor really have some really strict guidelines. And I mean, to me, I don't agree to it. Maybe some other states may, you know, maybe doing things different. Maybe they should mimic something that could accommodate more guests here, because literally Western New York economy is just down to the wire now. It's just done. Year and a half, what we're going to feel. I mean, it's normally it comes November, it slows down, and it's going to last at least until next year, March or April at the minimum. So I don't think any of these guidelines that they've been putting out helps. I mean, New York City was an epic center. They got it under control and everything, but there got to be a way to open up this economy. Otherwise, it's a bad news.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all of us are beholden to these rules that are in place. But I'm seeing hoteliers do their best to pivot, do their best to find new ways to get business, rethink absolutely everything from the way that they're operating their businesses to the way that people stay, to the way that people follow up with the guest stay. Tom, I'd like to ask you, do you feel like your business is stabilized? I assume it's at a much lower level than you would than you prefer, but do you at least feel right now you understand what the rules of engagement are so you could kind of create a path going forward?
It's a great question, Glenn. Thank you. First, the information that we're getting, and I thank Mark, one of the panelists here, being a close ally to ours here in Western New York and in New York State, we're getting the information channeled from the association to us directly. And that's such an added benefit for someone like myself, when I'm dealing with multiple hotels in multiple counties,
right?
Niagara, Cattaraugus, and Erie, and getting the updates from Mark and his association is extremely beneficial to us. So yes, we have the knowledge. The interesting part of the knowledge is that it literally is changing. I don't want to say daily, but it's changing. Like, for instance, the 14-day quarantine, to touch on what Jay had said, that cripples us, cripples the hospitality industry all across the state. The move to a 7-day and the test, and then the second test, the fact of the matter is that in Western New York, corporate travel, the average length of stay is 1.25 days.
Right.
I think you could do the math on what they're asking of us or what they're asking of the guest. It just doesn't make sense. It's a round hole trying to go into a square peg. It's not going to fit. So I think to touch on what Jay had said, maybe there is a mechanism with governors where they have a panel and they have some conversations about what they could do to help not only our business, look at the restaurant business, look at the theater business, look at any number of businesses that are struggling. So maybe if they took the time, and even if they started with the states that border one another, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, those sorts of things, where maybe those 5, 6, 7 governors have a conversation about what could be done to make it a little bit more appealing for people to travel.
Right.
And I don't think we've done enough of that from a leadership perspective in government.
No, we certainly haven't. And I've been fortunate enough to have extensive conversations on my show every day with people like Chip Rogers, CEO of the AAHOA, former CEO of this great organization. Just had on Cecil Staton, as a matter of fact, just today. And Mark, one of the issues that we've been talking about over the last few months with these the gentlemen such as that and such as yourself is, how can we make it easier to travel? One of the great ideas is the idea of bringing back deductions for traveling, fully claim that. Are you talking to folks in Albany about that? Are you hearing anything about trying to move programs forward like that on a national basis when you talk to folks that have your position in other states in the Northeast?
Yeah, to basically the answer is simple, that we've gone to the governor with over and over. Weekly we have these calls. I send Tom messages on the side once in a while because he's got, so much. Basically, in the if you have a test, travel with it. I got a test yesterday, and you use it like a passport.
Will my 8th grade social studies test count?
No. But, something where you're getting tested regularly, and it's an identification thing where the other thing I did want to say is, I've talked to so many hotels and so many members, and there hasn't been a hotel in New York State that's been in the media that says, oh, we had an outbreak in XYZ hotel. Right. The hotel industry, and the argument that we continually make is they're not super spreader events. I mean, a lot of the branded hotels, you keyless check-in now. I mean, there's nothing safer than doing that. With my family, we started to travel a little bit more. We go up to Plattsburgh. We stay at a Hampton Inn up there. You keyless it. You don't touch it. You can't be any safer. They have the thing on the door. You break the seal. You get in your room. You're in there. And it's a lot of educating, because people who don't know the industry that well think, well, you get people congregating in a hotel. Not now. People are going into their room, doing their thing, and getting in and out. So just as far as traveling, the simple, as simple as it sounds, just having a test that says, hey, I tested 3 days ago and I was negative, and then maybe I'll take one 3 days from now. But it's become so safe in the hotels. I heard the ad in the beginning with the Procter & Gamble that AAHOA has, the training program for everybody's gone above and beyond. And it's really, I don't hate to say it, it's one of the safest places you can go in America right now is going and staying in a hotel.
It's absolutely true, Mark. And that's one of the things that really frustrates me. And I think that you all are being held hostage by things that are out of your control, because you are safe. but it's other elements of the travel experience that are getting people freaked out. Things like this quarantine that we have to worry about. Here's a little statistic I just learned today that's going to blow you away. The chances of getting COVID on an airplane, 1 in 27 million. The chances of dying in an air crash, 1 in 11 million. I mean, come on. It's insane when you look at it in that way that we're still talking about this. And I feel like we've adapted. I feel like the industry's done a good job at that. But that's cold comfort at the end of the day, Jayesh, because you have to pay your bills over there. And it's becoming increasingly more difficult for you. I know we could keep talking about asking the government for a bailout. Hopefully now that the election is going in the rearview mirror, we'll be able to, as an industry, to focus on getting that passed. But what are you doing in the meantime? What is going on when you're talking to your lenders, the people that are helping you stay in business right now?
So not really. I mean, everyone, most of the lenders, local banks or national banks, 6 months deferment, that was the first one. Right. And then as of October, everybody expected their payment to be made. We asked for more relief and they say, well, we don't have any guideline from federal government, so we really can't do anything. You know, it's stimulus too. If something comes up, I said, we'll talk about it. That's one of the bank, for an instance, say 3 more months. And as a January, you have to figure out to make a payment. Right. What am I going to say? I said, all right, we'll try. If not, then do what you got to do, basically. So situation is lenders have their hands tied too. They're not really being very difficult about it. But the worst problem is your USDA loans, your CMBS loans, your bridge loans, nowhere to go. The way the economy was going, many people shifted their assets to CMBS loans, and that's been very much now the trouble loan. So trouble loan in the sense of how long they can drag it, how long they are allowed to use their reserve. Right. Ultimately, they have to make it up. And as I say, just if I'm not talking about the, you know, as an entire nation, but just the Northeast region, you know, as of October, November, normally it slows down. So now, you know, we're already here a year and another 6 months, it's going to be the worst because now this 6 months, the deferment's gone. Your taxes are due, property taxes I'm talking about, that's a big chunk of money. And there hasn't been really no relief announced yet from anywhere. I mean, New York State to and if this governor wants to get tough and tighten up their hands, I'm okay with that. But there got to be something that makes sense that could help this industry, because in New York, I mean, we have a large amount of hotels, and it's a lot of tourists that they rely on. But I think one thing it could be, I mean, my personal feeling, because of the election, this has gone way too much out of control. If this election was 4 months prior, I think we would have been out of this virus problem now. I wouldn't be surprised in 2 months, everybody start talking about virus. Within 60 days, it goes away. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be extremely surprised now that we had 100,000 cases today, but I hope you're right, Jayesh. I do hope you're right.
And so, Glenn, if I could
Mark.
jump in, just from the New York State perspective, I can tell you, and I can't see everybody's on the phone, but there's 2 New York State relief package possibilities. And Beautiful. To Jayesh's point, one was based on Trump winning and one is based on Biden winning. So, you know, the Biden, it's still, we don't know who wins, but it's based on the federal stimulus coming down, which needed to come down quite a while ago, but it did become such a political. So the budget director has 2 different relief packages, and we're out there pushing for, hospitality and tourism, but we'll see. I mean, hopefully the election gets solved quickly, whatever way it goes, because they need to be able to start to distribute that money. And the other thing is the disappointing thing about the governor is there was a bill, Senator Martinez and Stern passed, that would have authorized municipalities to allow property taxes to be deferred during the entire state of emergency, which is COVID, and they can just keep extending it. It was passed right away, and the governor has not signed it yet. So just continuing to try to push, trying to push. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But to Jayesh's point, I mean, there are some solutions out there that need to get done, and it's just it's tough sledding, but a lot of it's political out of a lot of people's hands. So
yeah, it certainly is. So Tom, I got to ask you, what's the state of what's going on and how are you handling with the unprecedented challenges to your financial bottom line right now?
Great question, Glenn. It's a little bit of reinventing the wheel.
Right.
You know, we're not fishing in the ponds or the feeder markets. Take for instance Canada. We in Niagara Falls, we have a property in Niagara Falls, very beautiful property, I might add, and we also have a property in Ellicottville, another great destination for the Canadian traveler.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone.
Right.
They cannot come over the border. So you're taking tens of thousands of people out of our pond that we would normally fish in, that we would normally market to, that we would normally build like a package towards. So what we've done, for example, we've created something called the road trip. Mm-hmm. And the road trip is a 3-night stay. Mm-hmm. And you pick the hotels. We have the Giacomo in Niagara Falls. We have our loft in Buffalo downtown, and we have the Wingate in Ellicottville. You pick the order in which you want to stay in them, whether it's Niagara Falls to Buffalo to Wingate, Ellicottville, or reverse, and you pick your dates. And we have one set price, and there's a passport that you get at check-in, and a welcome bag, and all that fun stuff for the people that might be coming from New York City or New Jersey or PA to give them, and it's gravitated to them. They're welcoming it, and we're seeing how it's not gangbuster by any means, but it's starting to gain some traction. So we put the thinking cap on, be the marketer, be the advertiser, and I found that talking with our people, whether it's the staff at line levels or mid-managers or anybody, there's not a bad idea. Let's collectively get together, collaborate on different things, roll something out like this road trip package, see if it's successful, monitor it, then on to the next thing. Right. Staycation in Ellicottville, or we're going to be launching a first responder package.
Cool.
Just different things that can attract different groups of people from the travel markets that we're actually allowed to fish in. So
that is fantastic, Tom. I love that idea. Interesting, creative, and it really cuts to the heart of what hoteliers are all about, finding new and interesting ways to convince people to stay with you. So Jayesh, are you doing anything that's different or interesting when it comes to marketing your properties? For example, I was just talking to a hotelier the other day. They've completely, it was actually the Terranea Resort down in Southern California. They were on the show, and they're focused on real micro marketing to like a 50, 100 mile radius type of a thing. So instead of going as far out as they used to, they're getting real close to the approximation of where they're at.
So we have a couple of property in the resort market. I would say all rest of them is either small town properties to whatever. There hasn't been any packages that we've done. About half a dozen GM, they created some packages, and we haven't been able to get much of an action. And the reason, again, simple, is it's just travel ban, even including your neighboring states. They are discouraged to come here. Canadian borders are closed. U.S.-Canadian border is closed. So there hasn't been anything. So going back to what Tom was saying earlier, even no matter which way you run a package and this, that, and another, you may get some locals, to buy into it. But again, people coming from different states, trying to take an advantage of it, or even, other side of New York State, that's been hard. And no matter which way you look at it, is I don't know how the numbers really coming up in different market, but like I have property in 6 different states. When you really look at it, New York is probably the worst one, then Minneapolis, and then Connecticut is a little bit better. Baltimore is a little bit better. Pennsylvania is a little bit better. But here, for some reason, even a nicer brand, we can't seem to be going up more than 30-35% occupancy.
I think it has to do with the culture in each of the states and the way, in a sense, that we've been conditioned to respond to the COVID crisis. While while certain states may have been a little bit more lenient, I thought they set the tone. Here in New York, we clamped down right away. We were the first in on this thing. So I think we've conditioned people to feel a certain way. Tom, do you feel that's an accurate assessment, and finding that that's a hard threshold to overcome, the fear and discomfort that people are feeling about travel?
Most definitely. And it seems as almost layering on top of that,
right,
is we're, you know, we're telling people, don't come here.
Right.
We don't want you here, you know,
Yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
That's what's being said from the political leaders at the top. So that makes it a 1-2 punch. Mm-hmm. So marketing around that is very, very difficult.
Right. Yeah. And then the number 3 punch, not getting adequate relief that you all need out there. So it's very stressful, and it's leaving you having to operate with less while trying for each individuals of you to do more. So Jayesh, let me ask you real quick, how are you handling the labor situation over there? How much have you scaled back? Who have you been able to retain that are on your superstars, and how do you keep them focused when they've got to work harder than they probably ever have in their careers?
Right. So I'm into 4 different type of category of hotels: the mediocre brand, the nicer brand, the bigger property, and some of the boutique hotels. Not as fancy as what, you know, Elegant Lodging has, but we do okay with those properties. As far as the labor force is concerned, I mean, part-time sales, GM does everything, no supervisors, different layers. GM has to take the charge, and you know, you save money a little bit here and there because stay over, you know, you kind of don't have to give our, you know, they're not requesting service, no
right.
breakfast. So it's a like typical, I would say, a limited service hotel. Those are the like quite a few, most of them, I would say that's in our portfolio. So overall labor, I think compared to last year, we probably about 30 to 35% we cut back. We still retain most of the our key people, even including that's into housekeeping, desk, night auditor, whatever that might be. Because you still, no matter which way you look at it, you need to have a certain amount of people. Of course, the houseman, there's no need for it when you're running 20, 30% occupancy.
Hey, don't ever say there's no need for a houseman.
You don't, I mean, you very little work to do.
You guys are tough crowd. Sorry, go on, Jayesh.
Right, I mean, laundry, maybe if you really running low occupancy, you only do laundry twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on occupancy they adjust. Right. So it's like, you know, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for GM to even manage it, but at the same time, there are a lot of staff members, or I would say fair amount, they were not comfortable getting right. back to work because of the COVID threat. So, you know, it's kind of, we didn't have to be tough and give them a layoff. It just, they found their way out and say, hey, I'd rather take a few months off, few weeks right. off. And then once we get busy, I'll be more than happy to come back. That's what I've seen the most. I haven't lost really key people.
That's excellent. You feel that the ones that you have had have been able to stay motivated and thankful yep. that they have a job?
I mean, they're all team player. I mean, they really have done a great job. All my awesome. GM to even, you know, your regular line level staff, whether it's you know, as a night auditor, laundry, whoever, they all stepped up. I don't have any complaints among any of my.
That's amazing. Kudos to you for creating such a great culture that they're behind you. Tom, how are you handling the same situation?
Similar in a short story, if you will. We were probably on track as an industry in Western New York to probably hit 70% occupancy for 2020. Jay, is that a fair number?
I would say, yeah, absolutely.
So take that down to about 30 to 35, which is where we're kind of hovering, you know, and looking at star reports from the North towns through to the South towns, it's about where it is. So that's a pretty big, deep cut in the number of people walking through your doors. And unfortunately, those cuts are then passed on to everybody in the business, whether it's at our offices, whether it's at the property level. And while I think we've done a as good of a job as we could retaining the key players on the property, it did force us to furlough a great number of individuals. And whether it's 1 or 100, you know, when you're altering somebody's life to that degree, it doesn't really make you feel good. And
no, even though this is a situation where it's nobody's fault, it's still emotionally scarring for you.
Without a doubt, because when things are good, you know, and you're relying on the people that line level at the properties, the leaders there, the team, you know, you count on them when the going's good. And now the going's bad, and you have to make these sacrifices in order to stay alive.
Right.
It's really tough. It is tough.
Yeah, it is. Mark, I'll get back to you in just one second, but I've got to ask both you, Tom and Jayesh, and maybe Tom, you could answer this one first. Have you been going out to any of your vendor partners out there to try to figure out ways to save money? Perhaps you're not using as much XYZ, so you're able to negotiate a deal that you don't have to pay as much for whatever?
I mean, I think what we've done is, an example, instead of having 5 garbage pickups a week, we have 2.
Right.
Those sorts of things, you know, automatically lower your cost. But to go to a vendor and squeeze them for a better deal, it's almost in reverse. Normally you get the better deal when you're buying more. you don't get the better deal when you're buying less.
Yeah, right. Makes a whole lot of sense. Jayesh, what about you?
I agree, same what the statement Tom made. There hasn't been any savings. I mean, you don't have a bistro, you have less inventory of use. So that's the only way you can just kind of keep it tight, not having to, I mean, there is no wastage really of any kind, but you need to supply that you need to run your day-to-day operation. But on, you know, because of low occupancy and low activities, you're just using less. But when it comes to having any kind of break, no, it's the other way around, as Tom says. Maybe in certain cases, you know, I mean, they just buy only once a month and keep enough inventory going, and then, you know, they have less trips. But little things like cable company had given a break for a little bit, short period of time, dumpster pickup, as Tom mentioned. But beside that, nothing really that strikes out that, you know, we were able to save these because of we're slow.
Yeah, you know, we're just trying to think of different ways to help make it a little bit easier.
Nothing even from the brand. And brand have some fees, you know, and that hasn't changed. Even though occupancy went 1/3, but those fixed fees, that hasn't changed. And I think that's a little heartbreaking, because brands should understand, because I mean, everybody could complain about it. Certain fees are more than a double than what you would get your regular vendor, you know, through your regular vendor. But it's a brand mandate. You go through that, so you're paying twice as more, even though in this kind of tough time, brand should step up. None of the brand have stepped up. Tom, what do you say? Yeah, I don't know. You probably see different brand invoices too. So fixed cost, that's a killer.
I do. I'm not gonna go with that one 100%, because I have seen some things that afford us a discount if you're paying a X bill on time or X bill within a window of time. There is a percentage off discount from some of the brands. Now, I'm not going to sit here and
that seems odd though. If you have no money to pay the bill, getting 10% off of it isn't going to be helpful.
It's not going to help.
Agreed.
That's too bad. Mark, I want to bring you back into the conversation. So let me ask you about labor. Do you think New York State, or perhaps you know anybody else in the Northeast area, other states that might do something to help displaced workers further than what we've seen so far at this time?
I do not, Glenn. I just know that a lot of, I think what we've heard from all of our members is right in line with what Jayesh and Tom have said. You know, some of our members in the Albany area, you know, what we have heard basically is, you know, if you had 70 employees, you have about 10 or 15 now. And they're, you know, with the lower occupancy, they're running with that. And just an example of how tough it is, and everybody on this call knows how tough it is, but we had a board meeting yesterday, and our secretary treasurer is general manager of 2 properties, and a Home 2 Suites and a Hampton Inn. And she called me and says, hey, I can't make the call at 7 a.m. I had to be in to run the front desk. Right. And I'm going to be there till 4 o'clock. I mean, there's such a stress level on the employees. And you know, until we can get this opened up, I don't see that changing at all. And there are a lot of people looking to get back to work that just aren't able to. But the other thing is, I will share, is one of the things we work on is trying to get, you know, even looking at next summer, like the J1 visa program, that's got to, you know, they got to allow for some of those to get back in for some of these properties to run at full full capacity.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
we'll see. If there's a new administration, I have a feeling some of that will have an opportunity to come back, because I believe the current administration is trying to put a hold on some of that kind of stuff. Tom, looking ahead to 2021, hard question for you. How do you even think about budgeting for next year?
That's a $1 million question, Glenn.
I know. Sorry, I only have like $3, but go for it anyway.
We're looking at a forecast running through the month of May, staying relatively at 50% of what we were doing.
Right.
I can't see it being any different, and it's really is not necessarily a day by day, maybe week by week.
Right.
We're learning a little bit more, but I track reservations for all 10 hotels twice a day, once in the morning by 10 a.m. and once in the evening by 11 p.m. And normally we would see at any time of the year, Western New York being primarily heavy between Memorial Day and Labor Day, but the bookend months, like say, for instance, November, you would see an uptick from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night,
right?
Maybe 100 rooms. Now I see a report that says out of 10 hotels, we may have sold 420 rooms at 10 a.m. and at 10 p.m. it's 423.
Right. Jesus.
So there's an example of, and I also do something on a rolling 45 where I'm looking at occupancy traction 1 week out to 6 weeks out, and I'm not seeing that developing into anything. Right. I'm not seeing any group business popping up on the books. I'm not seeing like that hockey tournament in January where I would normally start seeing pickup now on something like that, because they got to get their slots. There's so many rooms, so many teams, that sort of thing. I'm not seeing that. So because I have some benchmark data that I'm used to seeing in that window, and now I'm not seeing it in that window, that's cause for some concern from a budget perspective.
Jayesh, I'm sure you believe what he's saying rings true to your company too, but what else?
So as of August, what I kind of kept saying to group of folks, group of friends, my partners, I said each month going forward, we should be getting 5% increase, which, it dropped down to about 30%. So now it's 35, 40% of the revenue of the same time last year.
Right.
I think they'll continue if, and I am very, much I believe into this is within, another month or so, if people stop talking about COVID, I won't be surprised. COVID will be there. Virus is not going away. But once the negative media stops and once the states start easing up a little bit, I think we'll be able to see that increase up until February or March, like 5%, better than previous year. So at the end, like if you do the math, by March next year, you still will be about, 60, maybe 70% revenue compared to the, previous year, same month.
Right.
And then onward, I think we would see a fair amount of increase, but no matter which way you cut it, your revenue will be at the minimum. Even if everything goes away, there is vaccine out there, there is a treatment out there, and people stop forgetting about virus. Still, the events have been canceled. Even the wintertime, we used to get quite a few events as, in Western New York, hockey and all that. They were good because one or two events you get in each month, it gives you a nice spike of business or revenue. Right. Now, summer travelers would be normal. I don't think there will be a foreign travel groups out there, but they're normally lower rate. But I think there'll be a lot more leisure travel out there. So I wouldn't be surprised after April and May, things start picking back up with a higher rate than we ever seen before. But no matter how you do it, still, I think end of the year, end of 2021, will be still 20 to 25% at the minimum, less than 2019 number.
Yeah, it does. It won't matter how much you're going to be able to charge for a room next summer because you're still going to have steep losses. Now, listen, Jayesh, I agree with absolutely everything you say, except one thing. I don't think the media is going to stop. on the COVID stuff.
I think election is over. Their job is done. I think they'll slow down quite a bit.
I don't know that. I don't know about that. With 100,000 cases reported today and 1,000 plus people dying every day, I don't really think it has anything to do with the election. I think it has more to do with them just staying on it. But I do fundamentally believe that people of the United States understand, like I said before, the rules of engagement when it comes to all of this. They will start to feel more comfortable and will travel regardless what the news organizations are trying to make us believe, right? So I think we could definitely agree on that point. We're almost out of time. We got to get into some final thoughts now. Mark, let's start with you, sir. How do you want to wrap this up?
Well, just that the support of the people on the call and the industry folks that we always reach out to, we try to get as much information as we can, and we just continue to hammer the message home to our governor about letting our state open up safely. I think sometimes there's a little bit of a, worry because we don't want it to spike, and we're, doing a good job, and it just doesn't allow. We have to get some economic relief. We're going to be working next week directly with U.S. Travel on the next, now that the election's over, the next stimulus has to come. And then New York State has to make sure that it's small businesses and hospitality taken care of. Without the hospitality industry in this state, there is no economy. I mean, that drives the economy. It brings people in. If people are staying in a hotel room, they're going out to dinner, they're going to an amusement park, they're doing many other things. So our message always is, without hospitality, the economy, there is no economy going forward. And the hope is that for Jayesh and Tom, we've been hearing a lot of things about rebooking to Jayesh's point, get to summer next fall. People are rebooking their events because people want to get out and meet and do group business. So hopefully that's going to be the case. But I know there are a couple of properties in Lake Placid are already fully overbooked for the late summer, fall. And, that's got to be the mindset we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, cold comfort for most of you guys out there, but Nolan just reported that meetings have increased by 165% over the last 60 days or so. Now, of course, it might have been this little tiny number to start with, so 165% may not be that much, but it is an indication that people are meeting. And about 53% of those were under 50 people, which means 47% were more than 50 people. So I see glimmers of hope, but I also think it has to do with the particular states that you're in. Tom, how about a final thought from you, sir?
To Jay's point and to your point as well, I think as we do move forward, just like from March to date, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about what data are we looking at, how we're perceiving that data, and how we're handling that data. And I think if the media backs off a little bit, let's face it, we're a society that forgets pretty quick. And
That's right.
I personally can't wait to get on a plane, go sit on a beach someplace, and take it easy for a while. Because it's been a grind on everybody in this business at every level of this business.
I agree. Baha Mar reopened December 17th. Let's go for a party. Jayesh, final thoughts on you.
So final thought is forget 2020. It's gone. We learned a lot, and it is what it is. Everybody dealt with it. Our industry lost tons of money because, again, we are real estate driven, so hefty fixed expenses.
Yep.
Only way I can see that revenue that or this past loss, because most of the deferral you still have to pay back. It's not the free money what you got. Mm-hmm. So I think 2021 and 2022, personally, I like to see a very, very small or maybe no growth at all. No new construction, no nothing. Instead, somebody buy an older building and rehab and turn into a nicer hotel that can pay more money or more rates. I like to see that kind of progress. And number two, I think the brand-driven business directly to the hotel is going to be a key instead of having layers of commission with a third party and all that. So I think these two things that can really help our industry come out of this mess fairly quicker, as we start to recover.
I absolutely agree. Mm-hmm. So please continue. Sorry, I didn't realize you were going to continue.
Yeah. So these two things, that's something that at individual market level people could do. Local hotel groups could do. Control the third party inventory. If it's a well-maintained hotel, take a better rate, but directly sell to the guest instead of going through this other channel and leaving the money on table. So I think if everything comes together, we may be in a better shape by December next year.
Yeah, from your
Much
lips to
better
God's
than
ears,
today.
I hope you are correct, sir. Unfortunately, that new construction pipeline is still pretty robust from projects that were approved and funded before all of this started. I do hope that it weans